Hello, so welcome back to this another video where we are covering the important topic that is poverty and unemployment. This is the 13th topic in a row. We have completed the rest of the 12 topics and you can find that in the courses or the playlist tab in the YouTube channel itself. So yeah, without wasting time, let's begin. Definition of poverty. Okay. Definition: it is a state in which an individual is unable to meet the basic necessities of life because of the lack of financial resources. Okay. According to the Human Development Report 1997, poverty is not just about having money, but it is about not having the choices and opportunities to live a decent life. So it is talking about the choices. Okay. Then this is types of poverty. There is absolute poverty, relative poverty, chronic poverty, transitory poverty, situational poverty, multidimensional poverty, and generational poverty. We'll see that. Yeah. So now we have absolute poverty. Absolute poverty, it describes a situation where people do not have enough financial means to fulfill their basic needs like food, clothing, and shelter. It is evaluated based on a fixed benchmark, such as World Bank's poverty line, that is $3 per day. This is called as absolute poverty, where we do not have enough financial means to fulfill our basic needs. Then we have relative poverty. It is understood in comparison to the economic condition of others within the same society. It points out individuals or groups whose income or resources are significantly lower than the median or average income in their community or nation. Then we have chronic poverty. It refers to long-lasting and persistent deprivation where individuals or families remain poor for extended periods, often spanning several generations. This is called chronic poverty. Then transitory or temporary poverty. Transitory or temporary poverty is short-lived and arises due to unexpected events such as job loss, natural calamities, or economic slowdowns. Situational poverty. It occurs when individuals or communities face financial hardships. Yes. Then we have multidimensional poverty, goes beyond income. This is important. Goes beyond income and considers multiple factors such as health, education, living standards, and access to essential services. Generational poverty. It refers to persistent condition of poverty that continues for 2 or more generations. Families trapped in this cycle often face obstacles such as poor access to education, healthcare, and employment opportunities. Then we have causes of poverty in India. Factors contributing to poverty: health disparities, unemployment. Then we have low wages, education and inequality, lack of credit, inflation, and economic recession. Okay, fine. Let me just turn this off. Then we have the reasons, like the causes: due to unemployment, low wages, economic recession, inflation, lack of credit access, economic inequality, and health disparities. These are some of the reasons due to which there is this leads to poverty in many individuals. Like for example, if we take inflation, due to inflation there is more expenditure in the common household, that is causing drain of wealth for the common people. Now that is leading to poverty in some households. Now, if we take example of low wages, unemployment, they don't even have the basic money to afford their day-to-day lives. So these are some of the examples and the reasons. Estimates of poverty in India. Poverty line. It defines a threshold income. Households earning below this threshold are considered poor. Head count ratio. It indicates the number of people living below poverty line. It is measured as total percentage of BPL population in the country. Data collection method. Uniform reference recall period, mixed reference recall period, modified mixed reference recall period. Uniform reference recall period. Up to 1993-94, poverty line estimates prepared by NSSO were based on URP method. Under the URP approach, consumption expenditure data for all items are collected using 30-day recall period When URP is applied, households are asked to report their consumption expenditure incurred during the 30 days immediately preceding the survey data. So this is based upon the expenditure that every family or every household makes. So upon that, I think they are measuring the poverty. This was during the era of 1990, 93 and 94. Then we have mixed reference recall period onwards, 2000 onwards. NSSO replaced URP with the MRP method. Under MRP, consumption expenditure for 5 non-food items, namely clothing, footwear, durable goods, education, and institutional medical expenses, is collected using 365-day recall period. For all other items, consumption data continue to be collected using 30-day recall period. Modified mixed reference recall period is the most recent of the 3 recall period methodologies. Under the MMRP approach, a 365-day recall period is used for clothing, footwear, education, institutional medical care, and durable goods. A 7-day recall period is applied to edible goods, eggs, fish, meat, vegetable oil, fruits, spices, beverages, etc. A 30 days recall period is for other items including light fuel, goods and services. NSSO adopted MMRP for estimation of poverty in 2009 and 10. Rangarajan committee recommended the use of MMRP, considering it to be more appropriate method for poverty estimation compared to okay. World Bank also endorsed the transition from MRP to MMRP. Okay. Use of MMRP considering to be more appropriate method for poverty estimation. World Bank also endorsed the transition from MRP to MMRP. Pre-pandemic estimates. The first estimate of poverty was made by Dadabhai Naoroji in his book Poverty and British Rule in India. He computed the subsistence-based poverty line ranging from 16 rupees to 35 rupees per capita. National Planning Committee suggested a minimum income of 15 rupees to 25 rupees per capita. Then we had Bombay Plan. According to it, 1994, Bombay Plan suggested a poverty line of 75 rupees per capita. Then we have post-independence estimates. Working group established poverty line in 1962. VM Dandekar and Venkataran Shetty. Okay, let us not just focus upon this. Let us see some basic important ones like Suresh Tendulkar Committee 2009. The committee addressed 3 major issues: outdated poverty line baskets, challenges in adjusting prices for inflation across regions and time, the assumption that state alone provides health and education. So Suresh Tendulkar Committee, the committee proposed a significant changes, that is shift from calorie norms to target nutritional outcomes, uniform all India urban poverty line to derive state level rural and urban poverty, and adoption of mixed reference period estimate. Private expenditure on health and education was also included. The committee estimated that 37.2% people are below poverty line. Okay. Rangarajan Committee, constituted by Planning Commission 2012, report was submitted in 2014. The committee recommended a method of calculating urban and rural poverty separately, took into account both food and non-food items, used MMRP method instead of MRP. Poverty was based on monthly expenditure of a family. Calories, proteins, and fats were taken into account to estimate poverty. The committee estimated that 31% of the rural population and 26% of the urban population was below the poverty line. All India ratio was 29.5%. Okay. Then we have multidimensional poverty. Multidimensional poverty means what? A method of assessing poverty that extends beyond income levels and captures various disadvantages individuals experience in their everyday lives. It recognizes that poverty is not only about lack of income but also involves multiple deprivations related to health, education, and living conditions. Then we have dimensions: health, education, and living standards. Need for multidimensional poverty, holistic perspective, yes. Multiple dimensions, yes. Targeted policy interventions, effective policy design. It helps to target all sectors of the poverty. Then we have addressing special needs, yes. Measurement and monitoring, detailed indicators, tracking progress. Why are they expanding a simple topic into so many dimensions? Inclusive framework, focus on vulnerability, resource allocation, efficient use of resource, prioritization of interventions, okay, empowerment and human development orientation, empowerment. So what actually important is here is the multidimensional poverty itself is telling you that poverty is considered on various levels, not just on the economic level, but access to education, access to healthcare, access to clean drinking water. These all constitute to the same parameter of multidimensional poverty itself. Okay. So these are the dimensions of multidimensional poverty. Then we have universal basic income. Universal basic income was discussed in detail of one of the chapters of economic survey in 1617. Then UBI refers to system which under which regular cash transfers are provided unconditionally to all individuals without any requirement related to income level and employment status or willingness to work. Every citizen has a basic right to a minimum income to meet his essential needs. Universality, unconditionality, and agency. Rationale for UBI. That means why should we establish universal basic income? So technology driven unemployment. So it is basically uh, universal basic universal basic income arguments that basically what we need to do is there is a moral obligation of the government towards its people. Like some people are poor, some people cannot afford basic healthcare services, education, or basic nutrients and diets. So what the government or the state would do is basically it would provide a fixed monthly income to citizens who are vulnerable or who are in financial need. So it may help reducing income inequality and boosting overall aggregate consumer demand. UBI can promote social justice by enabling the poor to take independent economic decisions. UBI has the potential to replace existing welfare architecture. It can help estimate leakages and inefficiencies. Monitoring and administration of a single UBI program would be simpler compared to larger welfare schemes. UBI may reduce corruption and diversification of funds. It may address the anticipated unemployment caused by rapid technological change, like those who are being fired due to AI integration of many companies. Like, so they are competent people and they are sitting without any job. So it is the responsibility of the state to give them a basic minimum income. So this is the idea speaks about it. This is actually not implemented in India. It is actually implemented in Norwegian countries like Finland, Denmark, etc. UBI also contributes positively to strengthen financial inclusion. Yes, cost of implementing UBI 4.9% of the GDP, which is marginally lower than 5 currently spent on all welfare schemes together. It is telling that it would cost us around 4.9% of GDP to give away money to all the necessary peoples directly via a one-time monthly transfer, recurring monthly transfer, as compared to 5.2% of GDP that we are spending. The economic survey further proposed the per capita UBI amount should be fixed to inflation. Great. Challenges to implementing UBI: jam trinity, sharing of expenditure between center and state, banking system in remote areas. Under the current welfare program, no fallback option if any failure occurs. Yes. 2011 pilot study in Madhya Pradesh produced outcomes supporting the effectiveness of UBI. Heavy fiscal burden on the government, yes. Countries such as Canada, Brazil, Iran have experimented with UBI on a pilot basis, but no major economy has implemented UBI on a full scale so far. Thus, there is pressing need for serious deliberation and detailed analysis on UBI. Okay, let us do one thing. Let us go to our browser and say which country has implemented universal basic income. No country has implemented a full. Okay. truly basic income for adult population, while Iran and Mongolia previously operated partial nationwide. Okay. Mm, okay. Other notable experiments such as Finland's 2018 pilot have concluded. Okay, so there is no such country. Very sad. Income inequality. Societies experience various forms of inequality, causes of income inequality, concentration of ownership of assets in the private sector, high urban centric nature of private investments, high inflation in goods and services, excessive reliance on capital intensive production, inadequate skill upgradation, poor access to quality health and educational services, limited financial inclusion in rural and semi urban areas. Methods to measure income inequality. The first is Gini coefficient, that is very important. It measures the income inequality by calculating the area of the diagonal. Okay, fine. The value of Gini coefficient ranges from 0 to 1, and the value of 0 represents perfect equality, and value of 1 signifies perfect inequality. Then a higher wide gap between rich and poor. Okay, Lorenz curve. Lorenz curve depicts the relationship between the percentage of population and the percentage of income earned by that population segment. The cumulative on the cumulative interest showed. Okay, this is the curve. Lorenz curve explained a 45-degree straight line represents perfect income inequality. Gini coefficient. Okay, so here we just need to remember the two definitions of Gini coefficient and Lorenz curve. Lorenz curve talks about, depicts the relationship between the percentage of population and the percentage of income earned by that population segment. Okay. International poverty line. International poverty line, IPL, is a global benchmark, measures extreme poverty who are unable to meet basic needs like food, shelter, clean water and clothing. It is expressed as a dollar per day amount. How is the IPL determined? World Bank defines it by it on the median of national poverty lines of the poorest countries. It reflects the minimum income needed to afford basic essentials anywhere in the world. This line is updated periodically. Current threshold is $3 per day at 21 triple P. This replaced the earlier 2.5. People living on less than $3 per day are considered to be extreme poverty globally. So it is what? It is around 300 rupees per day. Unemployment definition. According to International Labour Organization, we don't need the definition. Without work, not paid in, currently available for work, seeking work. Okay. According to Keynes, unemployment refers to a situation where the number of job seekers is more. Okay. Hence, okay. Concepts related to unemployment. Labor supply. Labor supply refers to the amount of labor expressed in man days that workers are prepared to offer at various wage levels. The supply of labor is directly linked to the wage rate. Even if the number of workers remained unchanged, the supply of labor may rise or fall depending upon the changes in working hours or willingness to work. Labor force. Labor force denotes the total number of people who are either employed or willing to work. Labor force is measured in terms of number of persons, not in man days. Workforce. Workforce includes only those individuals who are currently engaged in any work. It includes people who are willing to work. Important formulae. Number of persons employed is equal to labor force minus workforce. Rate of unemployment. Number of persons unemployed upon total labor force. Proportion of unemployed. Labor force participation rate, labor force upon total population into 15 years of age. Workforce participation, employment intensity, number of employed persons per lakh real GDP. Okay, so here I think labor force participation rate, workers force participation, proportion of unemployed, rate of unemployed. Okay, okay. I think labor force participation rate is something that we should look after and revisit this while we revise the concepts in the coming few days. Methods to measure unemployment in India, as recommended by Dantawala Committee, which constituted the Planning Commission. Usual principal status, current weekly status, and current daily status. Usual principal status. This approach measures the number of individuals who remained unemployed for a major portion of the reference period, which is 1 year. This method generally reports the lowest levels of unemployment. Usual principals subsidiary status. Unemployed outside the labor force based on a majority time criterion based on the UPS method, considered comprehensive more than UPS, more comprehensive. Under this approach, if an individual is engaged in any economic activity for at least 30 days, then he is considered to be employed. Current weekly status, the reference period is 7 days prior to the survey date, higher than obtained under the UPS. Current daily status is the period of the reference period is the day immediately preceding the survey date, at least 4 hours on that day. Individual has worked more than 4 hours is treated as half-day employed. Types of unemployment. Voluntary unemployment is itself, okay, I am voluntarily doing these things. Involuntary unemployment. Then we have structural unemployment. It is because linked to the economic structure of a country, and it is very long-term in nature. Like there is structural unemployment in the manufacturing sector because the MSME sectors are lacking behind as compared to the service sector. So we can say that there is structural unemployment problem in the manufacturing sector. There is disguised unemployment in the agricultural sector. Disguised unemployment means there are far too many people in that one sector, which is causing which is not increasing the average productivity in the agricultural sector. That is called as disguised unemployment. Then we have frictional unemployment due to changes in the market conditions like layoffs, strikes, etc. Cyclical unemployment is like he is getting into the unemployment, then not unemployment due to business cycles, particularly recession, depression, developed economies. Okay. Chronic unemployment, long-term characteristics of unemployment. Technological unemployment because of AI. Casual unemployment, sectors like construction, catering, or agriculture. Seasonal employment is agriculture. Vulnerable employment includes own account workers and contributing family workers. These workers are likely to lack formal employment engagement with decent working conditions. Okay. Then we have unemployment in India. Reasons for unemployment. This is an open-ended debate. Population growth, lack of skill development, slow industrial growth, agricultural dependence, technological advancements, economic disparities, inadequate education system, informal sector dominance. Easily understood by these highlighted part itself. There is no need for further reading. Consequences of unemployment. Financial difficulties for vulnerable people, reduced purchasing power, yes. Social stigma and psychological impact. This is important. Increased inequality, brain drain, social unrest, and then we have economic burden. Brain drain is actually what happens is, if you see the top CEOs of different companies are actually Indian. So what is happening is people who are highly intelligent, who are very much into studies. What they are doing is they are moving away from India and they are settling abroad. This term is called brain drain, where the intellectual people are leaving India. Government initiatives to combat unemployment. Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana launched incentive job creation during COVID-19 recovery phase. National Career Service NCS project provides comprehensive online portal platform to connect job seekers with employers, offering services like job matching, career counseling, vocational guidance, and skill development courses. VBG Ramji Act, 125 days of guaranteed unemployment per financial year to rural households. National Rural Livelihoods Mission aims to reduce poverty by enabling poor households to access gainful self-employment and skilled wage employment opportunities with a focus on community-based institutions like self-help groups. Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Yojana focuses on enhancing the employability of rural youth through skill training and placement, aiming to provide sustainable incomes to poor rural families. Then we have, please refer to government schemes. Okay. Measuring in unemployment in India. The authentic data source of data of employment, Ministry of Statistics. Prior to this, periodic labor force survey gives estimates of key unemployment, while the labor force participant worker population. Okay, please refer to annual survey. Phillips curve. I think this Phillips curve should be put where we have discussed the Lorenz curve. Wala partner, Phillips curve described the relationship between inflation and unemployment in an economy. Who observed that periods of low unemployment were associated with high inflation, high wage inflation, periods of high unemployment were associated with low wage inflation. Over time, the idea was extended to show relationship between price inflation and unemployment. Phillips curve is based on the trade-off between inflation and unemployment. So it is an inverse relationship. It is an inverse relationship. When there is high inflation, there is low unemployment. And there is low unemployment, and when there is high unemployment, there is low inflation. Low employment is equal to high inflation. So that is what I just explained a second ago. And high employment is equal to low inflation. Then we have Beveridge curve. Okay, depicts inverse relationship between unemployment rate and the job vacancy rate in an economy. So it is simple na ki where it reflects the efficiency in which unemployed workers downward slope when indicates that when unemployment is high, job vacancies are typically low, and when unemployment is low, vacancies tend to be high, mainly due to cyclical movement of economic activities. You can link this to the number of vacancies that we have in the government jobs all across India. Because of low vacancies of government jobs, we see high number of unemployment and vice versa. So yeah, that was the end of the topic of poverty and unemployment. And I think with this we are covered with total of 13 topics of ESI. And I advise you, if you are watching till the end, that please watch all the previous topics. And I think there are about 16 to 17 total number of topics, so we are just left with how much? 3 to 4 topics. So yeah, stay tuned for them, and thank you.